Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today. My name is Amber Eaton, your host and moderator for today, and I'm part of the ECOP training and mentoring task team. And we also have Anna that's on the same team with me. For those recently becoming familiar with ECOP or early career ocean professionals, it is a program at the heart of UN Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development and was endorsed by the UN Ocean Decade as a network program in 2021. Our mission is to elevate and strengthen the diverse perspectives of new generations of ocean professionals through a collective voice, ensuring that knowledge is transferred between experienced and early career ocean professionals to promote ocean sustainability for the ocean we want. As part of the knowledge we want to share among future and current professionals, we developed a series of webinars that aim to train and inform this community of ocean lovers. If you'd like to join this community and attend more webinars like this one, please subscribe to our newsletter and follow ECOPS on LinkedIn or other social media. I'm going to drop the link to our LinkedIn in the chat right now. And today we have an exciting sequel to a previous webinar workshop on creative science communication. This episode is dedicated to the topic of turning your ideas into real SciArt projects. This is an especially relevant workshop for all of us because the UN Ocean Decades push for the science we need for the ocean we want includes cultural and artistic engagement as part of the ocean literacy and transformative science communication initiatives. Before we begin, I'd like to remind everybody that you can write your questions or comments in the Q&A section, and our speakers can answer questions at the end of the workshop, if not before. Now I will hand it over to our speakers today, Melissa and Holly.
Thanks, Amber. It's so great to be back with you guys. Holly and I did this original workshop back in June, and the first iteration of it was a lot of fun. We kind of ran through this presentation, diving into some of the 5 key pillars of science communication that we use at ECOS. And then we had time to do a brainstorming session on project ideas. And the biggest feedback that we got, biggest takeaway that we got from that session was everybody wanted way more time to do brainstorming. So that's what we're doing today. But before we get to brainstorming, there are probably many of you in the audience that did not see the first workshop. And so we are going to run through those pillars. We are going to give that presentation, share some of the content around science communication approaches that we use, and then give you guys a little introduction to, who we are and why we're here to talk to you about this. So to get started, I'll just do a quick little intro for myself. My name is Melissa Pappas. I am the founder of Emerging Creatives of Science. Emerging Creatives of Science is a science communication agency, but it's also a community of 100 plus SciArt professionals. So these are people at the intersection of science and art. A lot of storytellers, a lot of filmmakers, a lot of people that are out there putting their work on display through exhibits or interactive outreach events. But anytime scientists are looking to get their work out there in creative ways, this is what we're doing. So a little bit about myself. I was a marine scientist when I first got started in my career path. So I did a master's. I did like 2/3 of a PhD before COVID hit. My research was all around symbiosis on coral reefs. I was looking at giant clam symbiosis and I was looking at coral symbiosis. I currently live in Montana, so I'm landlocked and I don't live near the ocean, but I miss it tremendously. And every time I get a chance to go back there, I'm always super, super excited and appreciative of being connected to the entity of the thing that really started my passions. And then, I transitioned into science communication after I left my PhD. I worked in nonprofits. I've been working with universities, looking at different ways of getting any sort of STEM topic out there in the world in creative ways. So I've worked across environmental conservation. I've worked across engineering, human health, medicine. And of course, every time I get a chance to work with marine scientists, it's my favorite. I love doing in-person events. Online stuff is great too because it makes everything that we do much more accessible. But anytime I get to meet people in the real world is such a special treat. And I'm so excited to have connections here in this room, in this audience, where I've actually met and hung out with these people in real life, and hoping to meet more of you guys soon in ocean conferences and science communication events. So I'm going to now pass it over to our co host, Holly, and she's going to give her a little introduction as well.
Hey everyone, my name's Holly, and I'm joining Melissa today again as a individual who started in the marine science realm of things. I didn't quite make it into getting into my master's degree because my research topic was truly anything I could get my hands on. So I looked at a lot of different opportunities, every project I got to be a part of, every scientist I got to work with for a day, I was enthralled and really just loved to learn and see what those experts had to say about what they were doing in their own field, respectively. And that kind of led me to bouncing around, doing a lot more education-based programs. So it was fun to be working with the scientists, but I really liked communicating what those scientists were doing and doing that for high school age students or for adults that were in the area visiting, wanting to learn more about the region or location we were in. That kind of led me to a career of working on tall ships. So the big Pirates of the Caribbean looking vessels, I sailed on those with high school students, and it turned into this really fun way to communicate old school history, marine science, I mean, anything that you can get together, teamwork and leadership into this tall ship community, which is really a cool community because you have folks of all ages. So not only was it trying to teach marine science to high school students, but it was doing it with volunteers as well and doing it with folks that were like my grandparents' age. And maybe it was their first time on the ocean. So I really love connecting people into this environment. And I love not being the expert and being able to find the experts and find people to connect them to get their stories told, get that research out there so there's a broader understanding to either find folks that can help them work for it or just bring that awareness and find more funding to it. I
Yeah,
will give it back to Melissa here.
thanks, Holly. I think it's also important to note that Holly and I went to undergrad together. We both did marine science degrees in the same school, and we reconnected many years after we graduated, because our professor from undergrad, who was our marine science advisor, she was hosting a conference and invited us to join. And this was a conference all around temperate corals. And we ran this workshop for the first time at her conference in person. So that's where this all started. All right, so to dive into kind of what we're sharing today, I'm starting off with a slide that hopefully looks a little familiar to everyone here. These are forms of science communication that I think, already exist in the world. This is what we might know when we think about science communication. So these are different approaches. You can have everything from written, spoken, physical, and emotional forms of science communication. And these are things that are like press releases and science articles, maybe like radio interviews, or anytime people are having conversations about science. Physical things might be things like museum exhibits or interacting in the lab or going out in the field. Emotional things, which is kind of where we're leading to more with that art component, is really looking at art, creativity, film, storytelling. And then, one of the things that I bring up in this workshop is one way that really connects people to like where they are and their connection to nature and place is when like catastrophic events or storms or even things that are not necessarily scary or sad. They might be like solar flares in the northern lights, but anything that happens in our natural world that brings people together, gets people outside and starts getting people to notice what's going on around them, I consider those even forms of science communication. So those kind of fit within like the emotional realm of them. But these are kind of some traditional formats, I think things that we are mostly familiar with. And now I kind of want to push science communication into a different realm that starts to make things more fun, accessible, engaging, and generally invites more people to the table to talk about science. So that's where these 5 guiding pillars come from. These are pillars that Emerging Creatives of Science uses in every project as we put scientists in touch with artists or storytellers or communicators to start talking about their science in different ways. So we're looking at human-centered design, embracing nuance, embracing the latest tech, including AI. We're looking at going back to traditional roots of storytelling and knowledge sharing. And we're also thinking through, like, how do we get science, the act of doing science and the act of communicating science, to be more collaborative rather than competitive. So these are kind of the guides that we use in our practice. And I'm going to run through each of them, but I'm going to try to do them rather quickly. And if this is the first time you're seeing this workshop, that's fine. You're also going to have access to the slides. If you have questions about things, you can pop them in the chat now. But because we have run this workshop once before, this will be like the quick version of these pillars. So the first one is human-centered design. And what this means and where this comes up is a lot in product design. So we see this in things like toothbrushes, where the original toothbrush that was designed was meant for an adult hand and an adult mouth. So the design of the actual product fit the audience that they were targeting. However, when they watched kids use these toothbrushes, it was a mess, right? Like, kids can barely hold on to this narrow handle. The bristle head is too large for their small mouths. And so this was just a moment of, okay, how do you go back to your original product and reshape it, redesign it for your target audience? So when you come back with a different design, you can actually fit the target audience much better. So this is just an example of how this manifests in the real world. We see it a lot with products, but we can apply this whole approach to communications. So when we talk about the stories we tell, the words we use, the approach, how people are going to interact with the science, is it through something spoken? Is it through something physical? Is it through something interactive? We need to keep in mind who is our audience. 3 components that are important for human-centered design are having empathy with your user. So you really need to know, like, what is it like living in that person's shoes? What is their situation? What are their priorities? You have to have creativity to think about, one, what are their problems, and then how do you solve them? And then you have to figure out a way to make it economical. And what I mean by this, because we're not talking about selling a product, we're talking about getting information from science into a story format and then resonating with our target audience in the most effective and resource effective way. So what I'm talking about with economics here is, how do we make sure that people are absorbing information correctly in the way that we intend, without having to ask too much time or too many resources, or in a format that's inaccessible? So economical is really thinking about, how do we get what we want to tell out there in the world in a way that does not compete too strongly with other priorities that people have. We have to make it fit within their lives. So this is all about meeting your audience where they are, and then not just meeting them there, but elevating their scientific literacy from that point, so they become empowered to then talk about science themselves. So the next one is embracing nuance. And this one actually might be my favorite pillar, because this is where we get to really showcase skills as creative storytellers. When we think about science as a process, scientists are never trying to prove anything. There's never like one correct answer. What's happening in the process of conducting science is you have a hypothesis, and then you go look for evidence that supports it. And sometimes that evidence doesn't support it. Sometimes you have conflicting evidence. Sometimes there's no trend, there's no correlation that you can really pull out. And it's really important that both as scientists and the people that talk about science are helping non-experts understand that the whole thing is a process. What we're doing is trying to learn about the world around us, and sometimes information changes. We have to allow the stories that we tell that incorporate science to have that nuance, so that we stray away from the black and white thinking. And people love putting things in categories. Is it yes? Is it no? Is it right? Is it wrong? Is it black or is it white? That is not the case with science. It's rarely the case with anything that we interact with in our lives. So, how do we get people more comfortable with being uncomfortable? This is about telling stories that invite nuance and that allow people's minds to change. That's a really important one when we're talking about science communication. The next pillar is something that I think is on a lot of people's minds right now. And this is like, how do we incorporate AI, VR, AR, all this cool tech that's coming out right now at such a fast pace that has both the beautiful pros and beautiful cons of what it is as a technology. What we try to do with science communication in this new format and moving science communication into this modern world is we want to integrate as much as that as possible. And we also want to play with those tools as much as possible because we need to understand what are their powers, what are their limitations, and how can people who are using AI or using this kind of tech kind of fall into pathways that have the misunderstandings of science. What are different avenues of misinterpretation, and how can we even use these tools to combat those avenues? So it's really important that we know what's going on in this latest tech world, even if we feel strongly about not using AI to create science communication content. We do need to know what's out there and how are people interacting with information so that we can start to anticipate where misinterpretation might come through. Also, the pros of these technologies is that you could do some really cool interactive work. I mean, there's stuff around like mushrooms and the way that people have used AR and VR to understand the mycelium networks of mushrooms because we can't see that. We're not underground. We're not actually seeing those structures. There are ways that you can incorporate art and ocean temperatures into one piece that help people really see a story come to life with this technology. And we can do things like no-kill dissections in classrooms because we have VR. So these are the beautiful pros of this technology as well. The next pillar is something that's also really near and dear to my heart. I think this word storytelling comes up a lot in science communication, and it's becoming a buzzword, which means that it's a word people throw out there without having real meaning attached to it. And we start to lose the understanding of what it really is and the powers that it has. But when I think about storytelling, I'm really talking about like, how do we go back to traditional forms of knowledge sharing where you're talking to your family and friends about something that might be really cool in the scientific realm, but you're actually talking about it as it relates to you in your life, right? So you go outside and maybe, like for example, here in Montana, it's very odd that we don't have snow on the ground yet, and it's mid-November. So talking about like what's happening to our climate, but not just climate change as a science, but climate change as it relates to us as people in the communities we live in and the people that we care about and the people that are in our world with us. And what that does is it helps to integrate science and the understanding of the world around us to ourselves, our identities, our cultures, and then that gets passed on through generations. So, how can we incorporate more storytelling around science in a way that's just conversational with family and friends? And make it fun. It doesn't have to be doom and gloom about climate change. It could be a really cool conversation about what's going on in the atmosphere right now when the northern lights are happening. These really cool things that we see around us that can be celebrated more and brought into our own cultures and traditions more. The last one is also really important, and this is just an approach around work in general that I think if we're going to move from science in our silos to science as something that's accessible to everybody, no matter their level of expertise, it's going into this direction of collaboration over competition. And the really cool thing about this is if we're all here because we love the ocean, we can think about ecosystems as collaborative systems. There's no way that one organism can compete to a point where they are on top all the time, because if that happens, it creates imbalance. So trying to kind of mirror what our natural systems are doing in a way that we can bring that to our workplaces and the approach that we have when we conduct science or when we go out and do projects of our own. So this is like, how can we leverage everyone's unique skill set into team environments that actually get things done more effectively and more impactfully? So really trying to figure out how do we like restore the world of ocean science and ocean communication through bringing people together. And the ECOP program is doing a wonderful job of that. But this is definitely something we consider when we talk about science communication and working with scientists as well. So those are our pillars. This is the moment that we get to do the fun stuff. So I know I ran through all of that really quickly, and I'm sure there are questions around each of those topics. I'm happy to have those in the chat and answer them as I can. But what we're going to do now is we're going to go into breakout rooms. And this is the opportunity where we really want to give you the most time today. The point here is to do a few things. One, we're going to be doing some great networking. So this is an opportunity for you to meet other people here in the audience today that care about the ocean, care about science, care about talking about science in new ways. And then we're going to start thinking through, like, what do you guys work on right now that is in the realm of science that could be communicated to a larger audience in creative formats? The idea is to take some of these pillars that I've just presented into the approach of how you would design a project. Projects could be anything from an art exhibit to an interactive field day with kids to community charrettes where you're bringing people together around removing dams for migratory fish. It could be anything that feels like a new form of communication and a new way of getting your science out there. We really have no expectation of what these projects are going to look like when you're done talking today. So the biggest takeaway that I'd love for you all to have is to really learn about each other and figure out what kind of skill sets everyone has and how you could create a project together. Ideally, the projects are something that we push to a point where they're tangible and we can actually get these moving if you care enough to put these into reality. So if you have something already that's been floating around in your head around the science that you do and you have a cool art creative project that you want to put out, let's start there, because this is really like Holly and I's opportunity to give you guys the networking that you'll need to make those projects a reality. So what this is going to look like is you'll have 35-45 minutes to do brainstorming. We're going to give you a 10-minute mark that is what we're calling a reality check. And what this means is you're going to look at the project that you've come up with so far and ask yourself the questions. What are the limitations keeping us from actually doing this project? The reason why we have to talk about this is because if we're going to push anything to a real tangible outcome, we have to know what are the barriers that might be in place right now. Once you do that 10-minute reality check, we're going to give you a 2-minute mark warning where we will tell you, okay, hey, 2 minutes, you're going to come back to the main room. This is when you're going to want to nominate somebody to do the pitch for your project. And when we come back to the main session, we'll call on a few groups randomly and see who wants to share. And you'll have one representative from your team give us a 1 to 2 minute pitch. And that's what that brainstorm session is going to look like. So I'm going to pause here, let our hosts come off mute if we have anything that we need to say before we put people in breakout rooms.
Yeah, one, it's really exciting to look in the chat right now and see everyone already starting to connect and be like, let's get some projects going. I'm gonna drop the link in for the breakout rooms, and you'll notice in those links, you'll be able to fill out contact information. So once you're in those breakout rooms, don't worry, more sharing will happen, and we'll kind of keep that contact information if you're open for collaboration to kind of share with this group after we leave today, so we can continue on those conversations and let that connection go farther than just the webinar today. So don't worry, we'll be in contact.
Yeah, what Holly's referring to is we've set up a Google Doc that everybody's going to have access to. I don't know if you're going to pop that in the chat now. We can pop it in the breakout room chats as well. But the Google Doc is where you guys are going to hang out and do all of your brainstorming. And it means that it's also something you have access to when this session ends. So you can always go back, fill in more ideas, and even see other teams and their ideas as well. And then we'll give you links to some other resources as we're working through today. So if we're ready, I think we can put people in breakout rooms, and yeah, excited to see how you guys will do.
Okay, the rooms are open.
Perfect. Amber, I'm seeing that we got a message in the chat saying, how long is the webinar? I'm sorry, I have to leave in 30 minutes, so might not be able to do the pitch exercise.
I think we're gonna do the brainstorming for 45 minutes, right? And then come back for 15. So we
About
have
1 more hour. I guess, Juliet, if you're still here, you might not make it until the end. But don't worry, the document will stay online, and you will be able to continue collaborating and connecting after.
Did I do a countdown timer for 45 minutes that everyone can see in the breakout room?
If you can do it on Zoom, you mean?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure about this. I have put it on my phone, so.
Oh, actually, it's not letting me add one.
And Juliet, no worries at all. We're super happy to have you here, even though it's not until the end. Collaborate and learn as much as you can. But there's still a few people in the main room, which maybe just to ask quick, are you experiencing any issues with joining the breakout room? Don't hesitate to let us know if you have any issues, if you are not assigned to a breakout room. Maybe they have gone for a coffee break.
Okay, Melissa says she's in a room with only 2 people, so is there a way to like should I recreate them and make them more evenly, but then it's gonna change
No
where
need to
everyone is.
recreate. Normally, you should be able to manage the breakout rooms, and then you can move people from one
Oh
to
yeah.
another. So you can actually, if there's just 2 people in a breakout room, you can just all move them to another one that's a bit low on people, amount of people.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see.
Do you see the setting? Should be if you go to more and then breakout rooms, there should be a little window popping up. Are you seeing the function, Amber?
Adding again to group 5. They all keep changing so fast.
I'm also seeing that a few people in the chat, Evelyn and Galene Bane, are asking to put them in a group again.
Okay.
And Galene Bane is asking to be added to group 5.
Yes, thank you.
Of course. Sorry to keep you waiting here.
No, fine. It's my, I had an issue with my mobile, so that's why I shifted to my laptop. Thanks.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I imagine it must be a bit easier working on your laptop with the documents and all.
I got it now, so I'll join them and then we'll catch up after that. Thank you.
That sounds great. Have fun. Also, I'm seeing that Juliette is still here, and I'm a bit worried because she let us know that she had to leave a bit earlier. Amber, could you maybe have a
Yeah,
look to
Julia,
see
if you want to join your breakout room for as long as you can, you absolutely can. It says you're still assigned to room 7, so I think you can go back if you would like.
And how about the others? Maria, Maureen, Festus, and Divya. Can you see if they are assigned to a room already?
Um, don't see their name. Oh, wait, okay, let me look on this.
It
Okay.
seems that Juliet has left, so that's already good news.
Okay. Okay, so let's do room 3.
Hi, Maureen, Festus, Maria, and Divya. Are you able to join one of the breakout rooms? Please let us know if you're experiencing any issues. Oh, that's one person. Yes. Melissa is asking how many people we have in the webinar at the moment. Let me still see this information. I can only see the amount of participants in this main room.
Okay, it looks like everybody is in a room now.
I think there's still Cynthia here with us. But that would be the last one.
It says she's in room 7.
No, maybe she's also joining with 2 devices.
Yeah, maybe. Um, yeah, I see she's in room 7 with people.
How many breakout rooms do you have at the moment?
So there's 7 created, but there's like no one in room 6. I moved everyone out because I had 2 people, so I reassigned them. And there's, I don't know, people left room 2. Let me reassign this. People keep moving. Room 5. Okay, now there's no one in room 2. Okay, so there's room 1 with Melissa and 5 with 5 other people. No one in room 2 now. Room 3 has 4 people. Room 4 has 7 people with Holly. Room 5 is 5 people. No one in room 6. And room 7 is 4 people. And I
Okay, so
see people are talking in all of them, so that's good.
and in that case, I think we can assign you to one as well. I think there's nothing else for us to do. Actually, Amber, would you like to join one of the breakout rooms as well?
I can try, yeah. I was trying to figure out this countdown, but it's like the option for it is like I'm unable to check it. Like it's just gray, so I don't know how to do that, but we can just broadcast I think Holly was going to broadcast the 10-minute reality check, right?
Oh, I think only you can do it because you have the ECOP account.
Oh,
So you would be
okay.
able to send a message. But I have the timer. I can send it on WhatsApp when we have 10 minutes left and when we have 2 minutes left. Does that work?
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so to assign myself,
Oh, wait, we have Maria here in the main room with us.
okay.
Maria,
let's-
are you okay? Would you like to be assigned back to your breakout room?
She's assigned to room 5, but it says not joined, so she might have left.
Yeah. If you have any issue, please don't hesitate to let us know or send something in the chat. See a flex for now.
Okay, I signed Immaculate.
I'm getting so curious to hear about all the projects.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know how I would assign myself into a room. I don't need to, but I don't know how to do that.
I think when you go to the overview, you could choose to join one of them.
Oh, yeah. Duh. Okay, just join. Sorry.
That's okay.
I'm like looking for my name to assign it. Much easier. Okay.
I understand how this happens. That would be. Maria, are you still with us? If you have any difficulties, please let us know or yeah, how we can help you.
It shows Maria and Divya not joined.
Oh,
So
hi
I
Maria. She sent a message in the chat. Are you experiencing any issues? Can we help you in any way?
Maria is assigned in room 5, so she should be able to join.
Mhm. You see that Holly sent a message asking if we can send a generic message about using the breakout room documents to take notes of the conversation they're having and to start working on a project.
Okay. Let's try.
Uh, Maria sent a message saying that it's difficult to stay connected. Please don't apologize. I've been there as well, having not a strong internet connection, and then it's really hard to stay in a breakout room because every time your connection fails, then you get kicked out. So completely understand.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I just feel a bit sorry that we can't go in one of the breakout rooms and connect with the others. At the end, we will have a discussion with everybody though, so then you can still hear about all the projects. Oh, maybe she has some breakout rooms. Hi, Julia. Are
Okay, I
you
just
okay?
broadcasted that message to the groups.
Oh, that's perfect. Thank you so much. Julia, are you okay? Do you need help with anything? Please let us know if you have any issues. Please can help. Do you know how many people we still have in the breakout rooms?
27.
Oh, that's good. That's actually more than in the beginning.
Yeah, I just assigned Julia also. So right now there's 5 in room 1, no one in room 2, 4 in room 3, 6 in room 4, 5 in room 5, no one in room 6, and 4 in room 7. So staying pretty good.
Which reminds me of the recording it. I was writing it down, but I'm realizing maybe it's nice for Holly and Melissa to also know which room has how many people. Did you see the message? I never mind. It's okay. We have 20 more minutes.
How many more? Sorry.
20 minutes. Actually, Amber, do you yourself have a science project that you would like to communicate?
Um, Honestly, I haven't thought about it much, but what I'm really interested in is blue carbon stuff, so restoring mangroves and coral reefs too, even though that's not like really blue carbon, but coral reef restoration, big time into that. Um, and yeah, the seagrasses and wetlands, stuff like that. So I love the tropical areas that are so important with all the mangroves and that need so much more protection than what they have right now, and the
Yeah,
coral reefs in the same areas. So that's what I would love to dedicate my life to, is like trying to help on those projects. So I've thought about, some different ways with trying to get people motivated with finance and the carbon market. That's a mess right now, and trying to get blue carbon more involved in that. I made a LinkedIn post yesterday for the first time about
oh, you made a LinkedIn
mangroves.
post.
Yeah, my first one, really. So that was interesting.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I made a little AI picture to go with it that has mangroves and like dollar signs, because it's like, hey, this is very valuable and you could make this work in the carbon market,
Yeah,
but it's just really difficult right now. So yeah, I'm getting my master's in business right now to try to get more into
that's true. Yeah.
finance and like businesses, trying to get involved in funding these restoration projects that need to happen. So
Mhm.
that's like my career goal, is like working with businesses to get lots of funding for these projects, because obviously funding is the biggest issue, one of them.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I think
yeah.
that's usually the issue, that the restoration projects is off while they have funding, and then after 3 or 4 years, the funding stops, and then who continues to manage the lands? That's always such a big issue. Um,
Yes, definitely. So if there can be better financial incentives in place to keep funding like independent to that project, so they're not totally reliant on like government or something else, if they can like be more self-sustaining and like keeping the money from their project, like say if it is a carbon project, they own the project, like that local community,
Yeah,
they keep it, the money in the community and going so that they can keep it up instead of, yeah, just, oh, we got a grant to start this project and then like a rug pulled out in the next year. Like,
yeah, the community engagement is so important. Um, I remember during my semester in Sri Lanka, we saw a lot about mangroves because they had this tsunami in 2004, and then they saw that the areas that had healthy mangrove forests, they were much less damaged than other regions. So that was a great incentive for people to restore mangroves, conserve them.
yes, and they're huge for climate change and protecting against storms and flooding and all of that. So they have so much value just doing that, like without even carbon credits attached to them at all. But it's still
Hmm.
so hard for people to be motivated enough to protect them just
Yeah,
because. So
and for funding, it's sometimes hard to market them because they don't look as cute as, I don't know,
a sea turtle,
whale,
yeah.
a sea turtle, the coral reefs, the Great Barrier Reef.
I know, but
Mhm.
they are. So yeah, I'm gonna try to do that. I'm looking for jobs right now, so we'll see if I'm
I see
trying to.
anything.
Thank you. Yeah, anything at all to get in more into that. I should be done with my master's this spring, so yeah, I'm trying to like
That must
apply.
be your spring, must be my autumn. No, wait, no, you're in Northern America. You're in the US. I know it's
Yeah.
next spring. I see.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so hopefully I get something going soon. And I've been looking at internships too with Ocean Decade, and that would be really cool. If I can try to get something else involved with Ocean Decade would be awesome.
Hmm.
But we shall see.
Yeah,
Um,
maybe with the Ocean Connector now. I see that we have two people in the main room again,
yes, let me check.
Ryan and Kimura. Hey guys, if you are experiencing any issue, please don't hesitate to send a message in the chat or let us know.
They both say not joined, so I think I don't really know what that means, but it's like they're not
Wait, what did it say?
like by their name it says not joined.
Hmm. As
And
in
that's
maybe they didn't join the breakout room they were assigned to.
yeah,
Exactly what it means.
um yeah, because they're assigned to breakout rooms, but they have not joined them, I guess.
Maybe
Mm.
they also have a bit of connection issues or yeah, but Amber, I think it's super interesting, the topic you just mentioned. I was wondering, do you want to stay in the US or would you also look at jobs abroad, for example, in Europe and Asia?
Yes, I would love to go to Europe,
Really?
especially, yeah, I love Europe. And then there's so much cool stuff in Southeast Asia with the mangroves and coral reefs. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness. So I
yeah.
definitely want to do that at some point in my life, like just actually go and do hands-on work. So that would be an amazing like internship or something too. But no, yeah, I would love to go abroad and get as much experience as I can. So
Oh, that's good to know. If I see any jobs related to this, I will let you know.
thank you so much. Yeah, really gonna need one soon. So hopefully something. But what about you? Have you wanted to do any kind of SciArt projects, or what do you want to communicate in science?
Mm, um, I guess with my job, I'm kind of doing science communication already. Well, it's about ocean literacy, and then I'm doing science communication for a project on aquaculture and how to make the aquaculture industry more circular. So that is quite
Amazing.
interesting. But I can't say too much about it because, yeah,
Top
we can
secret.
we can only share parts of it because it's still unfolding
Oh,
as we
nice.
go. Yeah.
That's exciting. I also love the topic of aquaculture and just making fisheries more sustainable. My family actually is in the commercial fishing business, and
No
so that's like
way.
the opposite of what I stand for. So we get in a lot of not fights, but I'm just like, you could be doing this so much better. And
Oh,
no, it's
okay.
hard. There's so many different factors to serve all the parties involved, I understand. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
fisheries is a big thing I would like to improve too. My undergrad is in fisheries and wildlife
Oh, that's
conservation
interesting.
science, so I did a lot of fisheries stuff during
But
undergrad.
you must have a really good background having both the scientific context and then also how it works in practice through your family.
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting because so many people involved have such different opinions, and that's why the communication is so important in science, and like
Yeah.
making sure everyone understands, and they all have different ways of learning and different education backgrounds and different.
Amber, I'm sorry, can I quickly interrupt you? I'm
Yeah,
seeing that we have actually 9 more minutes left, but I think it's okay
okay.
if we send 10 minutes reminder.
Okay, I will broadcast.
Okay, so we go for a 10-minute reminder, a 2-minute reminder, then we have the group discussion, and we share the video and the survey in the chat.
Okay, broadcasted that.
Hmm.
Now,
Holly, yeah, she said she's not seeing the message. I wonder if in the chat you can click an option to send it to all breakout rooms.
yeah, I did. I'll try it again.
I can see your message though.
You can?
Yeah, I see it now pop up.
Okay.
By the way, Amber, how is like what sort of news and media stuff do you see about COP30?
Mostly on LinkedIn, but my boyfriend's actually, he's not there, but his company, a few of them are there, so I'm hearing a lot from him on what's going on.
Wow.
So yeah, he works for a really cool, like, carbon market project developer type company that helps people actually get the projects going and verified and does all the due diligence to make sure they're actually serving the community and the environment and everybody. So
That's
they
quite
have a,
important.
yeah, so they have a global team and most people are in Latin America and there's 3 people in Brazil, I think. So they're all there and updating on everything going on. So yeah, it sounds really cool, but what about
Amazing.
you?
I I kind of try to follow the general media to see what Belgium news is doing, but then I also follow a few other like broadcasters on Instagram, on LinkedIn. I try to diverse the news I'm seeing about it.
Mm.
But I think it's quite interesting that it depends which country you're in, what sort of messages you're getting.
Have you heard anything negative about it?
I mean, I do sometimes see some news that is a bit losing the hope, as in, are the cops still useful? Do they do what they should be doing? Is there not too much lobbying?
Mm,
These sort of things. Um,
I see. Yeah. Yeah. It can be difficult to keep the hope alive.
we have to. But there's also a lot of positive things happening, like what you explained, the company of your boyfriend is doing, making sure that these carbon credits, the projects that are behind them, they're actually serving their purpose.
Yeah, I'm really jealous that he works at that company. It's like everybody's so awesome and like that's their life passion is like helping fight climate change and it's so genuine. So I hope I um get to a company like that and
Hi, Juliet. Hi, how are you doing? Oh, I can't hear you that well.
if if I speak here, is it better? Okay,
It
so
is
that
yeah.
was
actually
my
better,
main
yes.
point. Sorry.
That's
But
okay.
I just wanted to say thank you very much for this nice webinar. And I hope that there is going to be more coming and I will for sure participate. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so
Yay.
much.
Thank you so much.
Happy to
Thank
hear you enjoyed it.
Yeah, very much. And I hope the projects are gonna all be super cool. And next time I'll check and I will come again for sure.
That sounds amazing. Do you want us to share
Awesome.
like a little update with you about the discussion or?
Yeah, if that would be possible, for sure. That would be
Sure,
nice.
yeah. If you drop your email in the chat, we're happy to send you like a little summary.
Yeah, I did it already, and I put it in the Google Doc also. But I
Then
can.
we can find it there.
Okay, cool.
Perfect.
Well,
Thank
thank
you.
you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Are we at the 2 minutes now? Are we at the 2-minute mark?
Yes. That was so nice. So she seems very excited about the webinar.
Yeah, that was so good to see. I love when people are excited. And I
Yeah.
love your message this morning where you're like, oh, sorry, I was just really excited.
I just felt so sorry to give Holly and Melissa a little panic because we did still have an hour. But I was indeed
No.
excited to get ready.
Yeah, that's okay.
I think in about 1 minute we can close the breakout rooms and have everybody come back.
Okay, yes. 1 more minute. Okay.
What time is it for you now?
It's 10:13 a.m. What about you?
7:13 in the evening.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. Okay.
Wow, there's 19 people working on the document. That's still a lot.
Hi,
Yeah,
I don't know
there's
if
20.
I left early of the room. I don't
Hi,
know.
Pedro.
Hi, how are you? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I thought
No,
we were
don't worry,
supposed to
don't
leave
worry.
the room.
You're right on time. We
Yeah,
were,
we're
Okay.
gonna call everybody back right now, so
Oh,
that's
okay.
perfect.
Mhm.
how did it go? How was your group?
Very well, very well. I think we have a cool idea in hand. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so Melissa and Holly should be coming back, and then we'll begin the pitch presentation portion. Oh, they still have 20 seconds. It's counting down. It's like, where is everybody?
It's so nice to see everybody.
Okay, everybody should be coming back to the main room now.
Yeah, I do see we have Holly and Melissa back here as well.
Yeah, that was so much fun. Again, it always feels like we don't have enough time. I'm sure many of you guys felt that way. I felt that way in our group.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, well, what would love to do for the last like 10, 15 minutes is to share some ideas that came out of our breakout sessions. And, of course, the goal of what we were doing here is thinking about projects that the group that we were in might all take some inspiration from. And maybe, yeah, we all go back from this workshop with some thoughts of how to do some cool outreach event for our community. But it is really hard in 45 minutes to come up with a full coherent project idea and then say, here it is, let's bring this to a reality stage. So I would be interested in kind of hearing where people got to, and even just some of the cool conversations that were coming up in each group. And maybe I'll start so that I can kind of create like a little template for how to do this. I was in breakout room 1, and actually we failed to come up with a name because we just jumped right into our conversation. So we didn't have like an actual team name, but we had some really cool expertise in our room. So one of us, yeah, and if people have to hop off because we're going to have an hour and a half session here, but I know maybe people have only allocated an hour. Go ahead. We've recorded this. We're going to share this out to everybody, and notes and things will all be available later. But in our breakout room, we had a variety of expertise. So we were talking about some really cool science tech, nanopore sequencing technology that Tessa has been involved in her work, and talking a little bit about like what does that technology allow us to do and understand about the world around us. So sequencing of DNA and RNA obviously can be done for any ecosystem that we want to understand, but we're talking about ocean ecosystems. And Bryony has amazing expertise in like paleoclimate, climate change, human interactions, and how like past, present, and future oceans are all different landscapes, and how are these ecosystems shifting. So we kind of thought about if we were to bring this to a group of people as like a public awareness event, we might start off with asking people to envision what they want the future oceans to look like. And that would be like a very open, imaginative process. So it might be like paint a picture, write poetry, conduct music, act out a scene, whatever artistic form of expression that people could use to envision the future of the ocean that they want. That's like full imagination mode. And then we might do like a second phase where it'd be like an in-person event where we would bring a mini demonstration of like this nanopore technology, which actually the nanopore sequencing device is like about the same size as a hard drive. And you can like carry that around with you. You can bring it to people and show them what it is, but it's also too small to understand what's going on inside. So we might actually come up with ideas of creating like a room or an exhibit that people could walk through to understand how nanopore technology actually works. So like, this is what it looks like when DNA goes through this nanopore, and like how is the device actually determining different nucleotides based on the flow, and like how can you use analogies of being in a physical room that models what's going on inside of this device to like really get people to understand the tech. And the reason why we brought this tech piece in is because we wanted it to feel a little bit like sci-fi, like science fiction. So we're asking people to envision future oceans, and then we're saying, hey, here's this cool tool that we already have in science that feels a little bit like science fiction. How would you use this tool, or how would you advise scientists to use this tool to help get to that future ocean that you wanted to envision? So it's a way of like combining imagination and like real science to ask like anyone, if you're an expert or not, to start thinking about like, how do we protect our future oceans? So we might do like an in-person event or like multiple events on that kind of topic. And that was our brainstorming project idea. So I'd love to hear what you guys have come up with in your own rooms, or like comments and questions on that. And I'll just pop around to a couple different rooms. So anybody here wants to like be a rep for their breakout room and come off mute and share some ideas, go ahead. Otherwise, Holly and I might just call on random breakout rooms.
I definitely want someone in my room to start this off because I'm kind of obsessed with the idea that we ended up with.
Which room are you in, Holly?
We're in room 4.
I could introduce it.
Let's hear it.
So we were talking a lot about coral reefs and how to kind of bring more awareness to that issue of coral bleaching and losing all those valuable ecosystems. So one idea we had was an exhibit that's kind of like an escape room. So you imagine yourself as a coral polyp, and you have all these different challenges you have to navigate, incorporating other members of the reef, like whales that will come visit if you're doing well and give you tips. And otherwise, if you don't have a healthy ecosystem, you're kind of on your own. And kind of just really engaging play as a way of people to help connect to this issue and also like learn more about it and hopefully come out caring more about it at the end.
And I would like to add to this that all the props would be made from the biomaterials created from the kind of from the ocean things. So no plastic.
Oh, that's so cool. I love it. I haven't heard escape room yet. That's a good tactic. Nice. Anybody else want to share? Yeah, Rena, go ahead.
I just wanted to add it would be like in a well, a portable one. So like yeah, so it can be taken around to other places.
That's so cool. I love that. Anybody else want to share ideas from their group? Let's see.
I think I can share my ours.
Yeah.
Our idea. Basically, the idea was to use a platform, or should I say a format, like a storytelling format called story maps. I don't know if you know what's a story map. It's basically a not a new thing, but it's not commonly used. Not a lot of people use it for science communication and for storytelling. So I can say it's relatively new to people in that way. And the idea was the topic is the sea bottom, the sea floor. And basically, for those who don't know, the story map is basically a medium in which like you tell a story using maps and using locations as like central characters or focus points in the story. You could use text, images, videos, graphics, and maps, of course. It's a very interactive and immersive way to tell a story. It's like a website. So it's available worldwide for everyone that have access to internet. And the story would be about the seafloor, or should I say, the exploration of the sea bottom, like the discovery of the sea bottom through time. So we do like chronological story, like we travel through time, through the centuries, and there will be a map. In the beginning, it will be like invisible, and as we get to new discoveries and new explorations, new expeditions, and discoveries of the seafloor, that part of the map would be visible. And the plot is that when you get to the end, all like the whole map is not visible because we don't know all the sea bottom. So it's kind of using that motto of we know more about the space than we know of the sea bottom, and that might. But I think we all have heard that, but maybe we don't have a visual understanding of it. We don't have like a visual image in our minds, like what do we know, like what do we don't know. So that's kind of the idea. And we could like we could use material, historical material, like documents, historical images, videos. We could follow specific people, specific expeditions, and important people in the topic through time, through the centuries. And we could also ask for communities or like cities that have documents that maybe they're not public documents. And yeah, maybe I think it would surprise people to know, and again, like a better notion of what we do know, with what we don't know. Maybe it would also inspire them to explore and to communicate the science behind this. Yeah, that's the idea.
That's awesome. Yeah, story maps are actually really amazing. I mean, I've heard of story maps. I don't know if anybody else on this call have, but if you haven't, I would encourage you to go check out some. It's an ArcGIS platform that allows you to really like dive into some cool projects. I think scientists use them. I think the one thing I've noticed about story maps is that people haven't done a great job of getting it out into the public eye. It's like scientists are well aware of story maps, but normal non-experts that aren't in the science world don't really know what that is. So like, how do we make that more accessible? Maybe
Yeah.
that's like paired with like an event or a screening of like a mini documentary that would also be within the story map. But yeah, and then like using it to dive through time. That's awesome. And the visual representation of like all that we do not know is a good reminder of people need to go out and explore. I love that. I'm gonna just pause here because I think we only have a few minutes left. But I wanted to first say thank you to everyone here that's in the audience and contributing really amazing ideas. I think all the stuff that we have in our Google Docs, that's everyone's ideas. You all have access to that to continue writing ideas that you'd actually like to pursue. You can get in touch with Holly and I if you're interested in making any of these a real project. If you're looking for funding or you're looking for collaborators or you want to continue doing this type of creative ideation with other ECOPs or scientists. The reason why we ask for contact info is because what Holly and I will do with your information about why you're here and what you're looking for is to really help put you in the right places and networks that we have that can make those things a reality. So we're leaving you with valuable information and some thoughts and inspiration to do things on your own, but we're also here to help you build networks that can become the collaborators that will make these things a reality. So I'm going to pause, let you guys ask any final questions, and then, yeah, we will pop a survey in the chat, which we like to do. It's like a Google form. The reason why we ask for you guys to fill this out is because Holly and I are always evolving this workshop, and we want to make it as valuable to anyone who is here to participate. So this really helps us. Your information and your feedback will directly inform how we evolve the next iteration of this workshop. So we'd love to hear back from you guys. If you guys have any questions, feel free to come off mute, but otherwise, thank you so much for spending time with us today. And thank you so much for sharing your amazing ideas.
Yeah, that survey is also in that breakout room document. So feel free to come back to that document at any time. I know there's more conversation of connection on this chat, and that's all there with information. You can go from room to room to see everyone that's here right now. So yeah, let's stay connected.
We'll take information in the chat and we'll start integrating that in the Google Docs so that you guys all have access to each other's info. But yeah. Thank you so much. And thank you, Anna, and thank you, Amber, for being our host today for the ECOP program. This has been a lot of fun, and I hope this has been a good way to kind of get the rest of the week started and going into your weekend and next week with some inspiration.
It was
Thank
really
you.
amazing, Melissa and Holly. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Melissa and Holly. And that was another great interactive and inspirational workshop. I dropped the link in the chat to the last workshop with you guys if anybody wants to check that out. And then this one will also be uploaded to that same YouTube page later.
And can I just say, just hearing only these 3 projects already, that they were created in, say, maybe 40 minutes, half an hour once everybody gets started, it's crazy. And those are really good ideas. So for me, I'm so curious to have a look at the rest of the document and see what you guys have been working on. But yeah, great work.
Yeah, awesome work. Thank you, guys. Have a good rest of your evenings and afternoons and wherever you are in the world.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Bye.